to put English on the basketball.
Hello and welcome to episode number 19.
Yes, episode 19. How are we doing, Sam? How was your NBA break?
Hmm. Didn't really do a lot, to be honest with you, because there wasn't a lot of basketball to watch and there wasn't a lot of NFL to watch. So it was just watching a bit of football/soccer. What about you?
Yeah, same as, to be honest. Keeping up with football again. And I use the word break because I think that's how the players saw it, wasn't it?
Yeah, we'll get into that, won't we? But there was not much. There wasn't much to excite us over this weekend, was there? So where did you want to start, Ben? Where did you want to start with this?
Where
Do you want to start with the
where do
positives
we
first, or do you want to start with the negatives first?
Okay, positives.
Okay.
It's a break for us fans to have a bit of a mental break from the constant flow of games every day.
Hmm.
Um,
Especially international fans, right? Because we stay up late and watch.
Especially international fans, where all tip-offs are late at night. Um, End of positives.
No, you know about the whole weekend or just the All Star game?
Uh, most of the weekend,
Right.
I say that its saving grace is the 3-point contest. Sabrina versus Steph was cool as well.
Hmm.
That's good to see for progression of the game. But other than that, I think it's boring, to be honest.
Oh. Well, yeah, I think you're right. The 3 point. Let's start the 3 point contest and um the sort of integration now. I think it's going to be a common thing of having women and men, but I don't know if it would be those two again because I don't know how long Steph's got left unless they just bring him out of retirement constantly. I
Yeah,
don't know.
mate. He could just come on and shoot threes till he's what, in his 50s, couldn't he?
Yeah, well, why don't they? That's what I was going to say. What's I know we'll probably get onto it, but what's next? Do you then do like historic ones as well? Get Ray Allen back and Reggie, and to get those guys shooting 3 point contest sort of shots. Do it because I thought that was quite a good integration, like you said. Um, but I also like the 3 point contest itself. Um, and I actually didn't mind the skills game initially, and then you could just tell it became a bit of a piss take, really. So that was annoying. But I do think the 3 point contest is the only thing carrying it. I thought the dunk contest was better this year, a little bit, not by much though. But the 3 point contest definitely is good. But what can we do to make it more fun, the 3 point contest?
Yeah, I suppose, full disclaimer, I've only seen clips and stuff on social media regarding the All-Star weekend. But that's only because I find it so boring. And I think the clips I've seen just justify my decision just to not bother watching it. It used the term the piss take, and I saw some of the skills challenge stuff and it was a piss take. The clips I've seen of the All-Star game was a piss take. And the stuff I've seen from the Rising Stars game was a piss take. Uh but yeah, improvements to the only thing that's left good in the weekend. I think you could have some historic matchups. That would be pretty cool to see some legend shooters of the game to have a bit
Legends
of a
versus
contest.
new what was it? What would you call it? Legends versus I don't know.
No,
Legends
no, but
versus
we used to have Masters football, didn't we?
yeah,
Where
that's
ex
it.
pros would have a tournament in the off season, and yeah, if Reggie Miller could have a few shots still, couldn't he? Surely.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think the celebrity game was not too bad in all fairness. There wasn't a lot of legit celebrities outside of the NFL players.
Yeah,
Really,
well, goes to show, I've forgotten about the celebrity game that it was
yeah.
even a
I
thing.
mean, I think the Steph versus Sabrina thing got a lot because of the fact it was the way it was, and obviously some people. I didn't think it was too bad, but again, I watched the NBA TV like snippets. I didn't think there was a couple of moments where I thought that Kenny got a bit borderline, but I don't think it was really offensive him saying about that she's too. I thought
The irony that he's just giving them a woman's name,
I know.
considering he was trying to take Sabrina's moment.
No, I don't think he
away.
was intended. I think he was trying to, because knowing how Kenny is on the inside, he's probably he is like that. I think he isn't like that. He is very much more sort of inclusive, and I think he was trying to make a point of she normally has a smaller ball. She normally shoots from closer, so she's done well to get to, especially because in the 3-point contest she would have come like second or third, and based on the second rounds. So I think that was really good, and I think the fact they've got a belt for it means that. And I had to check, I had to Google to make sure because I thought I was adamant.
It's quite funny that they had a belt because the other day I was thinking the matchup and the way it's been marketed was quite WWE.
Yeah, definitely. Like the hype, you need the peak WWE, I think, because you see them on Instagram and TikToks now, like people sharing the stuff when we were younger when it was like WWF and it was real hardcore. And they're trying to bring it back. I know The Rock's got back involved in WWE now because of everything that's gone on. And I think you look at there's sports that are dying because, or things, entertainment stuff that's dying because of that. Like the NFL Pro Bowl is poor. Like everyone hates the Pro Bowl. It's probably the worst out of them all. And the NBA is now falling into that sort of remit now. Like over the last several years, it's got worse. I think the last time, the first couple I watched, they were quite competitive. I remember, late what you call it, noughties, I suppose, 2007, 8, 9, they were really good games. But I think the last decent one I'd probably say would be like, remember Usher doing one of his songs. So it must have been late, like 2010, 11. I think it was Drew Holiday might have made the All-Star game as a Sixer. I think that was the last one where I was like, that's decent. And, I'll save a couple other points because it might be my X's and O's, but for you. But I just think all around the product for the game itself is poor. The dunk contest has got worse. The 3-point, they need to improve the dunk contest. They need to improve the 3-point contest, make it more fun. Because I think the 3-point contest is there. There's not a lot of effort, right? In the sense of there's no your shooting is quite physical. You see they get tired, but you don't have to run up and down the court. You shouldn't get injured from taking those 3-pointers.
No, that's why I say that some ex-pros could probably do something about it. As regarding the actual game itself, ESPN's I saw today back to the slam dunk contest. ESPN were trying to slate LeBron, saying that him opting out in his early days created a path for other stars to not bother doing it. I think that's a bit of a stretch, to be honest. The problem with some slam dunk contests is social media. I don't think players want to do it because of the backlash they get if they don't do well.
Yeah, if you take multiple attempts, and also a lot of stuff's been done. Like Dr. J, like everyone remembers MJ doing it, but Dr. J was the first to jump from the baseline, like, and then from the free throw line, sorry, and then you've got like jumping over people, like jumping over Shaq again, jumping over cars, jumping over people sat down, like I saw good old Mac did a slightly new where he like picked the ball off someone, then did a little throw to himself, and then dove. It was so quick, but it's hard to be creative in the slam dunk contest.
We're now a generation that's seen everything and overstimulated, aren't we? So nothing impresses us anymore.
No, I think unless you do something like wacky with it, I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head right now what would change the NBA dunk contest itself, other than maybe doing a height restriction, and it's more fun to watch smaller players dunk than the taller ones.
Well, that's why I said like a lot of people saying, "Oh, we need players like Victor to do it." Victor Wembanyama cannot do the slam dunk contest. What's entertaining about him literally standing next to the hoop and just dropping it in?
And I don't think he's athletic enough to pull off the stuff to make this. Yeah, so I think the only saving grace is I think the skills contest and the 3-point contest can carry the weekend, because it's going to take a couple of years until the All-Star game has some more thing to it. Adam Silver looked like he was a bit peed off at the end by the looks of it.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think he was too pleased about the scoreline at the end.
No, and I just think it's tough. The only the only way, unless my recommendation, unless you want to give one first, do you want to give one first? Because I think my one's a good one, but I don't want to steal it if you've already got it.
No, if you thought of it, you go ahead, man.
Okay, is that you throw in, like, you have the awards, right, MVP and stuff, but you throw in defensive players, so you know there's going to be a bit of defense or potentially going to be some defense. So you throw it, you say, so you've got the front court and back court stuff, and then you've got also select a special defensive player from each conference. So you've got a player that has to be defensive minded, like got the stats and stuff to back it up. Whether that's then is Small's fan vote, and then coach and media get the main vote for it. Maybe more weighted towards them, because otherwise the fans might take the piss and go with, you know, ridiculous players that don't play defense. But like, you could throw in a defensive player all-star, because the defensive players don't get recognized as much as the offensive players. Like, you know, it Rudy Gobert, you could say your boy Caruso, you could say other people that are like, they're never going to be all-stars really, but they or like consistently be an all-star, but they could get a couple of appearances as a defensive one. I know that will kind of maybe underline it, but that's the only thing I can think of, where you throw in defense, then you know you're getting some defense, and there's someone that can't shoot from half court, and let's let everyone just sit there and watch them do it, like with Dame Lillard.
I like the theory, but I don't think it'll work. I don't. The way all the players play. No, again, I've only seen clips, but the clips are horrific.
Mm.
Like, they do not care. They're literally walking, just throwing shots up from the logo. No one's defending on the perimeter of the rim. Like, it's just walking pace basketball, and it makes a mockery of the game. And I think back to when, you know, I've seen interviews with Kobe talking about the All-Star game and essentially saying that he took it as seriously as an NBA game, because fans came to pay tickets and came to see the best players, you know, had the best pickup game in the world, and they just treat it like the opposite. So if you throw in a few defensive players, I guarantee after a few minutes of seeing what the other players do, nothing, they'll just reflect that behavior. There's no point Alex Caruso going absolutely mental,
No,
you know, guarding and switching and trying to get steals and stuff if the rest of the players just don't care.
don't care. Yeah, fair point.
What you have to
Fair
do is put money involved. So
Yeah,
I heard that they don't get paid for that.
no, it's all charity, isn't it? The game for the
Exactly. But we saw the in-season tournament, you know, especially with the Lakers, that when you put money involved, suddenly players turn up. Even though they've got all the riches in the world, throwing an extra incentive surrounding money, these players are up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's
all I
true.
could say is, if that's what it takes, then the winning team, all right, some goes to charity like it should do, but the winning team get a fee appearance, or the MVP gets a fee appearance, or, you know, I've seen touted about whichever conference wins, they get the home advantage for the finals.
Yeah, they did that for baseball, and baseball got a little bit better with it, but still not perfect.
It won't be perfect, because essentially, if you've got players in there that are playing for a team that have no chance of winning a championship, they're not going to care about who has
No,
NBA's final. You know, you got Bam Adebayo in the All-Star game, albeit they fluked it last year to the finals, but I can guarantee they won't make it to the finals this year. So why would
no.
he care about who gets into the seedings? Trae Young, why would he care? Scotty Barnes, why would he care?
Yeah, no, that's
But
true.
Paul George and Leonard, why would they care? Because they're not getting to the finals either.
Wait, I'll take that bet.
Kevin Durant not getting to the finals.
So who's
But yeah,
coming out the West?
there has to be some sort of incentive and something at stake for these
Yes,
players. It's just slowly got worse by the years. And
I
I don't feel like there's a player that's gonna take it for the scruff of the neck and be like, come on, guys, these fans want to see something. Let's give them a game.
Hmm. No, I think I echo a lot of it. I was just like I said, there's got to be something that will improve it, get us engaged. Um, the only other thing I was thinking of is you could go international with it, to make it maybe get a bit more hype with it, because then they might think more about it, like Kobe's
What do you
approach.
mean by
Where,
international?
well, I think the obvious place would probably be Saudi, but is extend the break. I think because the problem is
Oh, so move the weekend somewhere else.
yeah, outside the
I thought
US.
you meant like do American players versus international players.
No, well, obviously the rookie one, but I mean, you could do that. You could do that, or you could say an NBA All Star plays against against a Euro League, um, Euro League All Stars versus NBA All Stars. There's a bit more. The NBA team's going to win, right? And they won't have to give as much effort. So they're still not going to be, because they should win.
I know they didn't win it, but the G League team in the Rising Stars tournament, they look like the ones that gave an effort.
Yeah, and I
And it's
think
probably because that's a showcase for them, isn't it?
I was going to say I think that's I was about to say I think I think that's the problem, is that they've got something to prove, so
Yeah.
they're gonna do that. So I think just making it skills based, the skill based stuff is great, and then you just I don't know if you just then the game itself, you do something different with the game, make it shorter. I don't know, make it but it can't stay as it is right now. But unfortunately, it's going to. I think it's going to take a couple of years for adaptation to happen. So I think we just got to focus on, or Adam Silver's got to focus on, and the fans have got to kind of keep promoting it, so it is on social media, because they do pay attention to social media. We know how much they love the
That's I think that's part of the problem. They pay a bit too much
But I mean, the league do
attention to
as well. I
social media.
mean, I don't know if you saw the league promoting all the latest
So
technology.
yes, that's what I mean. The players
Yeah,
and the league. Yeah, that thing with the movie thing on League Pass or whatever. I
yeah.
don't want that. I just want the app to run like it should do and be
Yeah, I
able to
don't care
watch
about
games.
I don't care if I could turn the game into Spider-Man. Like, why do I want to see my
Yeah.
players like Spider-Man? Like for kids, great, but let's be honest, the coolest sport in the world is probably basketball. Like
Mm.
outside of footy in most parts of the world, and probably cricket in Asia. Like this, it's the second most popular sport in a lot of countries, and it is one of the coolest sports. Like, because the jerseys look cool, the hats look cool, the merch is good, so that people want to wear it. So you've already got the kids in, but you want to keep the kids maintained throughout the whole lifespan
Do
of
you
an
know what
NBA.
it stinks of Adam Silver trying to be cool and hang out with his son and his friends.
Well, could be. I mean, Adam
It's
Silver's got a
like
kid.
he wants to try and know what's trending and be part of what's trending at the moment, but going a bit too far with it.
Yeah, I can see that. It could be the fact. It could be that he's trying to be younger, because Sturm is very different. Obviously, you might not remember because you didn't really watch it when you didn't watch it when Sturm was in charge. But Sturm is very much more corporate-y. Felt more like um, Roger Goodell, who's the NFL one, um, is a bit more corporate-y, not as much like
I, I
Houston.
get I get trying to get in a new audience, a new generation of fans, but we're still here.
Yeah, I mean,
So you got to
three
cater
or 4 years
for.
for you, but yeah.
Uh, was that
That
necessary?
wasn't a dig. No, it wasn't a dig. But I'm saying, like, you've not seen it any different other than the highlights, right? So, and I even when I was started watching, like I said, it wasn't necessarily. I think I don't really appreciate how good Allen Iverson was in the early 2000s in the All Star games, because when I watched him in the All Star games later, that's when it started. It was kind of like we take the mick, and then towards the end, it would be like Iverson versus Kobe in the East versus the West stuff, or whatever, or whoever Kobe was going up against, in in those in the years that I was watching anyway, and then before that probably MJ and stuff. But yeah,
I just what is it going to look like in 5, 6 years time?
well, it's going to be different. It's got to be, and like I said, that's why the biggest improvement has got to be the 3-pointer and dunking contest. Now, like I said, do you do a vets versus locals? if they're going to keep this little theme of we had paces and paces and in the skills competition, you're always going to have 3 players on the team in the city you're playing in, doing that sort of thing. So is that always going to be a thing now? I did like the idea and concept behind that, but obviously it didn't work in the end because players, unfortunately my boy made a mistake and went the wrong way, and then I think someone else did straight after. So
I think you're right. I think they either need to realise the All-Star game isn't what it is and probably never will be, and just go straight down this route of making it fun, making it light-hearted, and throwing little sort of exhibitionist type challenges involving players of today, players of the future, and players of the past. Yeah, it needs to be like almost like I say, a WWE slate. Maybe one-on-ones. I've heard that touted, like having one-on-ones with certain players. But I still think there, and here's my suggestion for trying to make it different. And this would never happen. It's probably a bit too far, but changing when it's held. I think a
yeah,
big part of the problem is we're now in February. We're 20 odd games away from the playoffs. Players don't want to get injured, and
I
we ain't
think
in it. We're not in the days of anymore. Players just playing through injuries and playing all 82 games, all playoffs, all-star, going at it.
so.
Even
When
though the players of today have got all the luxuries and medical science they could ever dream of, but equally they want to rest, they want to load manage, they want to say they got an injury after some of the injury reports of knee soreness, foot soreness. Jesus Christ!
so
Like
when
you
we
pay
have it,
millions of pounds.
well, I had
That's
this as an X and
the
O, which is really annoying. But yeah, go on. When would you say it? And then I'll tell you what the question was going to be.
that is difficult, obviously, because you've got to do it at some point during the season. But I did think, why don't they have it as opening weekend? And I know you're going to say, well, Glenn, what about the voting? So the voting happens towards the end of the prior season when most games have been played and
Okay.
it's been a bit more competitive. And then the votes are placed and then the teams are announced towards the end of the season, maybe before the playoffs. I get there's a massive gap between the actual game itself, but I guarantee people buy into it. I'm not being
I'd
funny,
like
but
that.
when you got someone like myself who watches all the games from start to finish, not just what you do, which is dip in and out, and suddenly NBA is your thing come February. Like, granted, you've been watching it for more years, but you start watching it come February. So combined, we probably watch the same amount of basketball, to be honest. But for fans of it for the whole season, when you've had to go from June to October with no basketball, you're going to be excited for that.
No, I mean, yeah, I watch. Doc Rivers had me not watching as much last season, but Nick Nurse has had me watch pretty much every game actually. But yeah, you have to pick and choose when you like my sports, and I get it because you do like me. I won't start for Embiid if Embiid's out, or it used to be like that. If Embiid and Maxi are out, I'm tentative to stay up, and I think at the start of the season players are going to be healthy, or you assume they will be. My X and
Yeah,
O's
and if they
question.
get sorry, because my thing behind that as well is regarding injuries. If they get like quite a serious injury, there's more chance to be back by the playoffs
Yes.
or towards the end of the season than getting an injury in February. I think that's what's key here is that it's so close to the playoffs, 3, 4, 5 weeks out, then being reassessed and ramping up. You don't really have that time. But if you get injured in October, yes, it sucks, but you've got a lot more time to recover and then maybe start playing after Christmas and in the back end of the season. But yeah, like I say, I think when fans are going to be starved of basketball for so many months, I think anyone's going to be excited for it. So to start the season, you're going to have your best players in the league having a pickup game, if you get the All-Star game, that is, plus all the contests that go with it still. And for the Rising Stars games, you could even introduce the draft class from the summer.
I like that. No, I tell you what, I do. I like that. My X and O was going to be we should delay the playoffs. Kind of like it was, except for taking it from the NFL, where there's a 2 week gap between the end of the season and the Super or the last game of the divisional games before the Super Bowl. And I was going to say, do you delay it? Do you delay the playoffs by 2 weeks and then have an all-star, or a week and have an all-star break then, so players get a bit of rest? That was going to be my but actually, I completely you've sold me on the start of the season, I think.
Well, I think that makes the injury issue bigger, doesn't it? If you do it just before the playoffs, because they're going to be really scared of getting injured then.
Yeah, and then the only other thing is that you do it in the playoffs before the finals, and you have a gap between the finals, like the NFL, and you literally copy the NFL. And then if you make your team are in the finals, you're exempt from playing in the game. You just turn up, say hello, and come off. You don't play. So you just get your nomination.
But Silver's not going to want that, is he? What's the point in having players nominated are just there to, I don't know, be a cheerleader?
Yeah, no, I get it, but no, you sold me on it. So yeah, I
So that's my
agree.
solution. Obviously, I will be writing a strong worded letter to Adam Silver.
No, I agree. I think go for it. You've sold. It's the first time I've ever thought. I thought you've spoke a bit of sense. So well done.
Not bad for someone who's only watched for a few years.
Yeah, no, there we go.
Yeah.
What do you want to do next, Glenn? You want to do my silly little name thing, or
No, I think we clarified that it's unfair for me to give you such a challenge when I myself do not know how to pronounce their name.
good? Do you want to talk about some breaking news that came on before we went on air? Before we started recording?
What the Nets head coach?
Yes,
I
Mr.
don't
Bourne.
think there's very much to say on it, other than it was coming,
Yeah,
and the Nets are in a bit of a pickle.
they are. It seems like they might be reaching internally as well, not hiring. They're not going to do a bucks and try and hire someone out from outside, who may have been interfering with them to help them get the job. But
Well, they waited too long and they missed out on Doc Rivers.
they did, and they must be gutted by that. Their fans, especially seeing how well he's doing at the moment in Milwaukee. But yeah,
He's doing tremendous.
the Nets just didn't know what they were going to do this season all year. It was they were kind of pondering around. I just don't think they've left it way too late to go full rebuild. I just don't know. It was just a bit of a strange season for the Nets. I feel sorry for him, to be honest with you. And I feel sorry for Nets fans in a way that have brought into this, because this guy that owns them, they got that Asian dude that owns them, is big investor in that. But
Joe Tsai.
yeah, they haven't really done much in the last. I just don't get.
No, he doesn't seem to have a win now plan or a win later plan, does he? It's
No.
just letting it all tick over, and I'm not sure they've got much when it comes to draft picks. They don't really have some major assets to turn into stuff for the future. It's just a bit of I feel sorry for their fans. They're probably in a bit of a rut, to be honest.
Yeah, I just I can't see it being an attractive place for a coach until the postseason till the end of the
But that's
season
probably
anyway.
why, like you say, that they're looking internally, because who does want to go there?
No, exactly. It's not.
Who would have thought they'd be as irrelevant as the Charlotte Hornets?
Indeed, although they're still
I don't want them to
brilliant.
be, but that's just how it is.
It is indeed. So I've got a couple of X's and O's for you.
So I've answered one
Yeah, the other
with
one is
my
another
amazing.
all-star one. This year's jerseys. So just in case, because I think you were a fan back then, but I'll get it up on my iPad. So maybe you can see. You can see
Yeah,
it on there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
So the it was I think that was the first year Jordan did it. 2019 this year's jerseys were the best jerseys since 2019. Those 2019 jerseys.
Yeah, I think they were pretty smooth, to be fair.
Yeah, they've been poor the last few years, but they
for someone, as you mentioned, is quite new to the game, but I have watched some historic All-Star games, and I'm a big fan of them wearing their team jerseys, like full-on
yeah.
team jerseys.
So is that you want to
It
bring
must
that
be
back?
I must be confusing of who to pass to, but I did like that.
Yeah, I must admit, I weren't sure on on the jerseys, like when I first started like going through highlights of All-Star games of them wearing their own teams. But it's a money maker, right? So they're always gonna do it. And then my second X and O, I kind of touched on it.
Well, you asked me at the start of the episode what are the positives from All-Star Weekend this week, and I did forget to mention the jerseys because I do think they were pretty nice on the eye.
Yeah, they were. And then last All-Star question is, I kind of touched on it earlier, is the All-Star game should be held internationally. Because obviously, in-season tournament, we talked about that being there, but either an in-season tournament or an All-Star game, in my opinion, is going to go international because the Saudi money's going to come in or whatever. There's going to be a big deal. It's probably in-season tournament, but
I think, yeah, maybe because I think there's some good benefits of that. For certain countries or parts of the world, it would be on a friendlier time of the day. For instance, if the All-Star stuff was on at respectable time over here, then maybe I would have watched it just to see what it's about. But because it's during the middle of the night, I had no interest to even try and stay up or get up early to watch it back. So that could work here. I think fans who don't get to see these stars on a regular basis from other countries would sell tickets instantly. And it would raise awareness in certain countries where it's not as big in. So I guess it can only be a beneficial thing, really. I can't see any negatives with it. Traveling, that's it, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know the Americans might necessarily not like it, but I know
But
technically they have had it in Toronto before, but so it has gone
they
international.
They don't take it seriously anyway, so they play like they've travelled for 24 hours anyway.
Well, there we go. Yeah.
So you might as well put them on a flight for 12, 15 hours and then throw them out there and make them play.
No, exactly. That's what I thought. I thought, just throw it out there. But like I say, technically Toronto has had it, so I suppose it has.
So what we're saying is All-Star Weekend, October overseas.
There we go. I mean, they saw how much money the Team USA would have seen how much money they ripped off us fans here for exhibition games here against nobody country. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a ticket to Team USA versus Germany, and to be up in the gods, paying over £100. It's just
It was the same for who are they playing as well, Sudan or something like that.
Yeah, South Sudan.
Yeah,
but Big Wayne Gable plays for South Sudan, so
all right.
stars are out.
Name me five. Name me their starters then.
Oh, well, I think I just done one name one player for South Sudan.
Okay, there we go. That's what I mean. Rip off for those sort of things. But anyway, we'll end it there because there's not much more to talk about because All-Star Weekend was there. We look forward to this.
Yeah, it was Mayor. It's over. Let's look forward to the rest of the season returning this week and some important games coming up in the lead up to the playoffs.
Indeed. Wow. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, follow us on X, which is our favorite place to interact, and our Twitter or X handle is what, Glen?
It's at With the English One. It's got one in there because we're the only one podcast called With the English.
How to put English on the basketball.